The Trump administration is using Nazi and white supremacist propaganda as their model to recruit a paramilitary force, effectively a standing army on domestic soil for Donald Trump to use. What am I talking about? The over $200 billion Donald Trump is now spending to hire 10,000 ICE agents, 3,000 Border Patrol agents. But it gets worse because Donald Trump has taken all the filters off. He's lowered the age for people to apply from the 20s down to 18 years old. Imagine this, 18-year-old border agents with guns under the control of Donald Trump. In addition, he's cutting the training in half. His Homeland Security Director Kristi Noem has gotten rid of all of the investigators that investigate abuse within this organization because Donald Trump doesn't care about that. And he's using, and it's not coincidental, he's using language and imagery taken from Nazi propaganda and from white supremacist movement to get those people to join. And I assure you, if you were a Proud Boy, if you were an Oath Keeper, if you were a Klansman or anything else, or a Jan 6th insurrectionist, those are not going to be disqualifying memberships for you to apply for Donald Trump's standing army. This against the backdrop of a federal judge today who declared and announced for the world to understand that Donald Trump is in the process of standing up a federal police force where he is the chief to use as an occupying force around America, including in blue or only in blue cities and blue states. It's something that he's always wanted. It's something that our founding fathers and framers were always afraid of ever since we departed from England and the Declaration of Independence, where a president as king would have a standing army to use against the American people. I cover it all for you right here on MeidasTouch and on Legal AF. So if you piece all this together, and this puzzle is not a difficult thing to piece together, is you've got Donald Trump federalizing the National Guard, especially in red states and in places that he can control and in places like California. So he gets control. Let's think of the constituent parts of his standing army, his federal police force on domestic soil, which is unconstitutional and violates the Posse Comitatus Act, as Judge Breyer just declared. But think of the components of it. You've got 10,000 new ICE agents being hired. You have 3,000 Customs and Border Patrol agents being hired. They're being given bounties. They're being given bonuses. The age limit is being lowered. Training is being lowered. If you don't think that's a problem, in the past, when we've lowered the standards for these key first responder law enforcement positions, bad things have happened. There have been Border Patrol and the predecessor to ICE agents who have been convicted of murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault. In some cases, members of the cartel, drug cartel, became Border Patrol agents. So if you think that happened before, what do you think is going to happen now with Donald Trump effectively opening the floodgates and letting anybody apply? Not just anybody. When I show you some of the things they've been using to attract their applicants, over 100,000 in the last 2 weeks, and the fact that they're not doing anything to filter out Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, and Klansmen, and Jan 6ers. In fact, they're attracting them. It's like a moth to a flame. And the flame is things like this. Posters that digital posters that the Department of Homeland Security is using. Defend your culture. Remember your heritage. You want to deport illegals with your absolute boys? Why don't they just call them bros? Why don't they just call them Proud Boys? Corrupting and co-opting the imagery of Uncle Sam in a recruitment poster with his finger out saying, which way, American man, with a whole chart, terrorism, invasion, predator, these hokey, false Norman Rockwell paintings of a period we never had in America. No black or brown people shown in the photos or in the imagery unless they're in handcuffs. And this is the recruiting posters for Donald Trump. And they're working. But who are they recruiting? And why do we have to lower standards in order to get these people in? These are going to be key people who are going to be responsible for not abusing our civil liberties, our civil rights. I want an 18-year-old to do that? Sure, they can go serve in the military, but that's different. You want an 18-year-old cop on your street with a gun and a badge? I don't. Sorry. And this is not the way. This is the way for a president who's a dictator to scare the crap out of the American people and stand up a standing army that's in violation of our Constitution. And it's going to take federal judges like Judge Breyer to stop him, and then the United States Supreme Court from stopping him. So now I can't execute the laws. Let me go round up all the tax evaders. I can't execute the laws. Let me round up all the people getting vaccines. I can't execute the laws. I've heard some rumors about election fraud. Seize the voting machines, cancel the election, put my army around polling sites. And we're not that far off. Judge Breyer today, in a 52-page decision, painted that possibility when he said, what is to stop a president like Trump from, on false rumors or any rumor that he can't execute the voting laws, therefore use his federalized police force that he's just created? We stand in the way of that. Social rejection, First Amendment speech, our reporting on as the press, the lawsuits that have been and will be filed in the future. That's what stands between us and tyranny at this point. But when I saw these recruiting posters, I was like, and I'm just going to spin. We've spun them here, so you can see them. I was livid. I assure you, I will be back on MeidasTouch telling you about Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, other white supremacist groups, Klansmen, Jan 6ers who have been given a pardon, signing up to be Border Patrol. What's this? Of course that's going to happen. The Department of Justice hired Jan 6th insurrectionists to serve in the Department of Justice. Honestly. I mean, I don't even know there is an equivalent, but I'm not necessarily going to make it. Can I share a little secret with you? I kicked my coffee habit and I swapped it out for Mudwater. And wow, what a difference. No more jitters, no afternoon crashes, just smooth, balanced energy that helps me focus and crush my day. Mudwater is this amazing blend of cacao, chai, turmeric, and adaptogenic mushrooms like lion's mane and cordyceps that actually taste delicious and fuels my brain without the usual coffee chaos. I love making it. It's super easy. Just scoop, stir, and go. Sometimes I add a creamer or honey to make it my perfect cup. Plus, it's USDA certified organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan, kosher, and zero sugar. Clean ingredients you can feel good about. If you want to feel this kind of natural energy, head to mudwtr.com/legalaf and grab your starter kit today. Right now, listeners get up to 43% off your entire order, plus free shipping and a free rechargeable frother when you use code LegalAF. That's mudwater.com/legalaf with code LegalAF. After you order, when they ask you how you found them, please let them know we sent you. Again, that's mudwater.com/legalaf and code LegalAF. Get ready for clean, delicious energy all day long with Mudwater. This is where this administration's head is at. Lack of morals, lack of character, a lack of patriotism, unconstitutional conduct and behavior. But I don't want to miss the forest from the trees. If we report these things sort of, seriatim, like, well, today, another 10,000 Border Patrol agents. And, here's the latest. We just got today as well. There's going to be, 3,000 or 5,000 military lawyers who are come out of the JAG Corps who are going to serve as immigration lawyers. Okay, I went to law school. Some of the people in my law school class went to law school as well. They then take specialty classes on military justice, which is completely different, very different than the civilian criminal statutes and civil statutes and even the Constitution. They have their own gig over there in the world of JAG and military justice, and they don't deal with immigration. Immigration is a code book that if it was printed out anymore, and I know it's not, it would be yay high. And you have to study that and understand it. And there's provisions that seem to be conflicting. And it's just hundreds and thousands of pages of a statutory scheme set up by Congress and amended. And then when they amended it, they broke it. And then they had to fix it and they had to amend it again. And they're going to give a crash course to military lawyers to be immigration judges. Why don't you just use inflatable dolls? Just put an inflatable doll in as an administrative law judge. There's a judge. That's your judge. Because the charade that we're giving due process and justice at the minimum level. Why don't we just take a shop clerk? Or, hey, are you a lawyer? You don't have to be. If you're 18 and you've always wanted to be a judge, you can be an administrative law judge in the Trump administration. Why don't they run that ad? We're close to it now, folks. There's no requirement that an administrative law judge who handles immigration know anything about immigration law, and they know that. There's no obligation that he be a lawyer or a judge at all. That's going to be the next round of posters. So it's these events that when you piece them together and you step back, then you make the observation that Judge Breyer made today. We're watching the creation of a federal police force with Donald Trump as its chief, and it's illegal and it's unconstitutional. And whether you hide elements of this standing army and you call them Border Patrol, or you call them Customs Enforcement, or you call them ICE, or you call them whatever it is. You call them the federalized National Guard. It's nothing more than Donald Trump creating an army to use on domestic soil, which is exactly what our framers and founding fathers were afraid of. When we left England, and the Declaration of Independence even talks about King George holding a standing army and giving them discretion without civilian control to do whatever the heck they want. And that's where we're at, folks. So what should be happening is if there is a legitimate crime problem, and I'm not saying there's no crime in red cities and blue cities. Crime knows no boundaries. Is it trending down since COVID? Absolutely. Violent crime, it doesn't mean if somebody you love or you has been the victim of a crime, doesn't mean, forget the statistics. Your life has just been turned upside down, right? But I'm talking about as a trend, as a statistical base. Crime is less than it was 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. But if Donald Trump wants to make a difference, then pump money into local domestic law enforcement, civilian law enforcement. Give them more money, not to buy weaponry, not to buy cyber trucks all outfitted like they're paramilitary troops, for training. It's been shown that if you put the police in a situation where they're properly trained on how to de-escalate and how to, I want to fund the police, not defund them, but I want to train them. When they've gone through institutes and centers for how to handle proper modern police practice, police brutality goes down, violent crime goes down. It's all a good thing. Abuse of civil liberties go down, because that's what all of this we're talking about is, ultimately, the abuse of our civil liberties by Donald Trump. So give them the money for training, not equipment. Let them hire more quality people, not less quality people. Don't lower the standards, raise the standards at the local level. Then you're pro-law enforcement. Then you're pro-public safety. This other thing, this cosplay thing that we're watching, how can you be pro-public safety when you're turning National Guardsmen against their neighbors? I'll continue to follow it all right here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. Take a moment, hit the subscribe button here, slide over to that's my sound for sliding, slide over to Legal AF YouTube channel, and then, of course, Legal AF Substack. What an amazing community we're building over there all together. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.